Hey, welcome to another episode of Tech Talk. I am your host, Jeff Hootselle. I'm the Chief Cloud Officer with Auditmacs. As you guys have watched our show before, you know Tech Talk is a show we talk to leaders in the IT community, talk to them about the trends that are happening in the industry, about interesting things they and their companies are doing. We always have great guests on the show. Today is no different. We're really excited to welcome from Taylor Morrison. They're one of the nation's leading home builders. We've got Brian Rooney, who's their VP of Information Services, or VP of Technology. Brian, hey, thanks for joining us, buddy. Good to have you on the show.
Thanks, Jeff. It's great to be here. Yeah, I think my title is whatever I happen to be called that day.
Yeah, I figured as much. I know you're growing and expanding all the time, getting into new stuff. So trying to give you a promotion.
Appreciate that.
So Brian, for guys that maybe are not intimately familiar with Taylor Morrison, talk a little bit about where you guys are kind of in the space. What makes you a little bit unique when it comes to that home building industry?
It's a strange thing to work for a home builder and have the word love mentioned, daily, from your CEO to division presidents to everyone that's grinding on their gig every day. And we really talk about how we love our customers. And I'd be willing to bet every company that kind of comes on a show like this kind of says the same thing. We love our customers. We love our customers so much. It's part of our daily routine. We have daily huddles where we talk about different ways or stories where some of our customer folks have been able to wow, their customers during the home buying process, and we talk about how we can do that. And there's so much focus on how to sort of wow that customer and love that customer, that it bleeds into every, even our metrics that we produce. We try to be able to measure how much love, we're giving each customer, and really get to that personalized experience for those customers. So I'd say that that's really what differentiates TM, is that we are willing to go to nearly any length to provide that great experience for the folks that are looking to buy our homes. I think that's really the biggest thing that I've noticed.
Yeah, and I've seen that. I watched an interview yesterday with your CEO. It was on Yahoo Finance, I believe, and she was talking about kind of the state of the market and this. It's kind of booming right now with interest rates being so low, and for a number of other reasons. But you guys have made a lot of strides as a company to really think about that customer experience and being able to, even with all the precautions that need to be taken right now, to do a lot of stuff virtually. Things like virtual tours and being able to sign contracts virtually and do other things there. Yeah, so I know, with that is great, but from the guy that's responsible for technology, or a big portion of that technology, that adds a little bit of complexity and some demand and things like that. And I know you're kind of squarely focused on efficiencies and process from the company. Talk about some of the things that you're trying to do to help support that growth and support some of those efforts that you guys are taking to serve those customers.
Yeah, I mean that's a great point. I mean, it's so hard it's easy to say the word love and then kind of walk away, right?
Right.
How do you really take steps to allow your customers to establish relationships with the folks on your team? And they don't do that by, moving the customer along like they're an item to be taken care of or a task to be completed. And where technology comes into play here really is that our job is to make sure that our loan officers, our loan consultants, anyone who has the blessing to interact with the customer, is not spending their time while they're on the phone with the customer thinking about all of the data entry that they're going to have to do later on that night. Or if they're thinking about the reports that they know are going to come out, so they want to make sure this system is correct and that their pipeline looks correct. And there's a lot of detail involved in manufacturing a mortgage. And so being right about all those pieces really takes up a lot of folks' time. And so if you're interacting with a customer and you're not worried about the data piece of it, you're not worried about that, bank statement or that information that you need to get from them, you're more concerned with establishing a relationship with that person and understanding what they're looking for in this home buying experience. And that's really what we're all about, even in financial services, which is the subsidiary that I sort of run in the technology space. we really are focused on allowing our people to not think about the data entry and the stare and compare, really focus on trust, build that trust with the customer.
Yes, that's interesting, Brian. So it's one thing to kind of say that, and that's a goal that's very very worthy, right? Is someone that's gone through the home buying process and the home building process. It's a lot of stress for that consumer. It's a lot of paperwork and stuff that's be involved. If you've ever signed off on a home, the book of documents they bring to you that have to be signed. And the accuracy of those things, they have to be 100%, right? There's no room for error on those things. And if you miss up a document, if something goes wrong, well, we have to postpone this date by a week or two, and everything kind of has to reshuffle and get through that process. So when you look at that and you talk about allowing your people to be able to focus more on the customer and that relationship, what kind of things are you able to do from a technology standpoint that frees them up a little bit?
Sure. One of the things that we're investing in is robotic process automation, which is just it's a technology stack that's out there that I think existed probably 15 years ago. If you've ever used LoadRunner or anything like that to develop synthetic transactions for applications, you would kind of choose these XY coordinates on the screen, and you try to have create a bot basically that would go and click in a particular place to create an order, or follow these prescriptive steps to create an order. And I remember working in that space many years ago, and it was very unreliable. It was really one of those things that you only did to try to test performance and not function. And so in today's world, RPA really has grown a lot, and RPA is really effectively allows you to record what a person is doing on their screen. Now, that could be them logging into email. It could be them going to their bank website. It could be them going to the USPS site to do an address validation, or any number of things. And we can turn that process of this click here on this button and this file upload over here, we turn that into a piece of automation. And so effectively we can mimic what the people are doing on their computer screen and the various systems they are interacting with. And we can do that all through software automation. And so at Taylor Morrison, we are using that technology to remove the stare and compare. If it's a matter of, we have a volume that occurs, right? People put in these applications, and invariably there's applications that come in that where our loan consultants may have not, checked the right box or done the calculations correctly. And so this volume of applications that come in, and we're talking, several hundred a day, they come in and they're actually checked by a bot. And so this bot goes through and looks at 50 different business rules on these loan applications. And, it says, okay, I know these 50 rules are hard and fast, but some of them are going to be exceptions. And so it goes through and it checks. It compares one field to another field. It looks at the, borrower's age and appraisal fee dollars, and making sure that all the fees are correct, and does all this quality control work. And then after it's done reviewing the loan, it basically spits out a list of exceptions for our disclosure desk team to work on. So you imagine this is kind of following the 80-20 rule, like, hey, let's try to automate 80% of it and let our smart people take care of the 20% that are, that's left over. That's really the process that we're using here to really create some automations and allow those folks to just not be worried about the quality of those files anymore.
Yeah, and that's really interesting, Brian. I mean, what does that translate to you guys as a business? I mean, you talk about this. Obviously, it makes sense that you're giving more attention to the customers, like we talked about. But from just a efficiency standpoint and a workload standpoint, what are those gains like from a business perspective?
Yeah, great question. I think a lot of this is it's easy to provide a metric that's fluffy, right? We're looking at 60% uplift in the number of applications that we can take on a given day. I mean, that's significant.
It's not insignificant. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, so when you were going through deploying this, what was the most difficult part, the most challenging part with actually deploying the RPA solution?
I think it's the people, and it's all of us, right? RPA is a technology that can sound scary when you say the word bot to someone, and how a bot, is going to take over a piece of what you're doing, but it really is going to enhance what you're able to create as an individual contributor. And so I think really helping people to understand the way, the exceptions-based processing is going to work, meaning the bot is not going to do your job. It's going to do the stare and compare parts of your job that are not, super fun to take care of, and not the rest of it. And so really letting people see that there is life on the other side of the bot. It's not we're not going to replace you. We're going to make it so that you're focused on the right things. You know what I mean?
No, that's great, Brian. Well, I think it's interesting. I mean, where do you see kind of things going from here? If you look out in this marketplace in your industry over the next couple of years with everything that's happening, kind of what's next, in the real estate world and kind of in that home buying world that you guys are focused on now?
Yeah, I mean, it's really trying to give our customers the best possible product that they can have. And for us, from a home building standpoint, we're focused on getting to the point where when we sell a home, we've got, there's not this enormous punch list of stuff to do after the closing. That's a lofty goal, I think, for a lot of builders, and it's something that we're working really hard on. We want that experience to be joyous. I mean, joyous isn't even the right word. It's celebration. It's a celebration of a life milestone, and I feel like everyone at Taylor Morrison is kind of in love with that milestone, and we want to share that milestone with as many people as possible.
Nah, that's great. Well, we love Taylor Morrison. You guys are a fantastic organization. I think the stuff you're doing around RPA is really interesting. Brian, if people want to connect with you and find out more about kind of your perspective on things, I know you're super active online. Where's a good place for folks to find you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess LinkedIn is a good spot. I mean, I do post quite a bit of RPA sort of musings, I guess, out there, and I just love the customer, and I really want us to be able to use technology to create those human connections, because those human connections are what makes the world go round.
That's great. Well, Brian, hey, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it. It's always a pleasure chatting with you.
Perfect. Thanks, Jeff.
All right, you got it. Thank you guys for joining us as well. We'll look forward to catching you on our next Tech Talk.